Hey guys, this is Shannon with Nearly Organic Noshing, and I wanted to show you a very frugal homemade gift that you can buy. It's very little money out of pocket. If you are like me, see this spice cabinet up here, which is absolutely disorganized and overflowing. You have tons of spices in your kitchen. And if you go on Pinterest or any site online, you can find just absolutely tons of different recipes, and these are just a few I pulled. I remember seeing one on, I believe it's called Rain Homestead or Rain Family Homestead, that she had done one for a seasoning salt that looked really good. But these are just a few I pulled off Pinterest, and I went through my cabinet to see what I had, and I pretty much had all the ingredients here. I did pick up some more coarse salt just because I really needed it. And so that's the only real money seasoning wise I spent. This gift is going to cost me about $4 total because I had all the seasonings, and honestly, you really need to use them up and have turnover in your cabinet, every so often. So this right here from Big Lots cost me $4, and this to me is very nice. You can also, if you want to go less expensive, these were $1 from Dollar Tree. There's 4 of them, and they pretty much hold the same amount. You can also get these from Dollar Tree, and these were $1 each. And these are just the ones that I use up in my cabinet for spices that I buy in bulk, because it has the double sides. It has the side with the holes, and then the side that you can spoon out. So that is just some other options. But I have my recipes written down here with the amounts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix these up. And I went ahead and lined these up, what I have, to make sure that I had absolutely everything I needed. And some of these are going to, the garlic and onion will probably be used in numerous recipes, but I just wanted to make sure I had everything. So once you find out you have everything, just go down the list and mix. And so I'm going to be doing a smoked salt in one of these. The last time Chris and I had Boston butts on the smoker to make pulled pork, we made some smoked salt. So I'm just going to take the container of smoked salt we have, pour that in one of them, smoked salt. Then I am going to make a Tuscan salt and a crazy salt and just a regular seasoned salt. And that's going to be 4. I could have done so many more. There's an easy rosemary salt, but I'm also, as part of this gift, I'm going to make a rosemary infused olive oil. And I picked up this jar. I believe it was $2 or so, and I am going to make the rosemary oil. I'm going to pour it in here and then stopper it along with a sprig of rosemary in there, and it'll be really pretty. So for definitely under $10, I said what, like $6? The olive oil is probably one of the most expensive things that I had to buy. Rosemary was from the garden. And then all the seasonings were from my cabinet. I'm going to make this really nice gift, and it's all in the presentation. If you tie it up real pretty, put some pretty bows on it and a pretty packaging, it's going to look great. And then the other thing I'm going to do to make it just look a little more professional, I guess you could say, is I'm going to make labels for each one and label it. You could also do a pretty handmade label out of like brown paper and label it and tie it on. But just so that they're a little more permanent, I'm going to use the label maker, and I'm going to attach the labels and put this all together as a gift. And I'll show you guys as I go how to make them. Okay guys, ignore the spilled salt everywhere. As I was trying to pry the lid off one of the salts to make this easier and go a little faster, we had a slight salt explosion. So there's salt everywhere. But what I like to do is write out all my ingredients with a dry erase marker. It just helps me keep track, and then I don't have to write everything down and waste paper, because usually I have the recipe on my phone. I had just written down a bunch of ingredients when I was in the office earlier, so that I would be able to check when I came in. But the actual recipes I pull off my phone and just write them down here. The other good thing to have is a funnel. I might actually get a bigger funnel than this because this one looks kind of thin, and I'm thinking the salt might clog it up, but this one might just work. And something with a pour spout. So I have all of my ingredients in order, and the first thing I'm going to do is 6 tablespoons of basil. And these do not have to be exact. You know, you just kind of put it in there. And when I have a big T on my ingredients, that means tablespoons. If I have a small one, that is teaspoons. So that's 6 tablespoons of basil, 3 tablespoons of garlic, and this is granulated garlic. And so there's 3 of those. 3 tablespoons of sea salt, and this is the very coarse sea salt. If you wanted this to blend even better, you could like run it through a magic bullet or something if you wanted it blended up finer, but I like having it coarse, so I'm gonna leave it just like that. 2 tablespoons of rosemary. And you could use fresh rosemary if you wanted to. I just have a couple of these big containers and I want to use them up because I went and I had picked a bunch of fresh rosemary out of my garden, but I'm going to use this for my infused oil and then to decorate the containers. Okay, let's see. That was 2 of rosemary. Let's do 2 of oregano. And this is definitely going to be more than enough to fill up these. You could downsize the recipe if you wanted. I'm just going to keep the extra for myself and put it in one of the little cheapy containers since no one will be seeing that. I'm going to do 2 of thyme. 1 of pepper. And 2 of crushed red pepper flakes. Okay, and then I'm going to just stir it all together. It is all mixed really, really well. I think a big funnel is going to work better for this. Okay, and this is my Tuscan salt. I'm just going to make a label and put it on the front. Okay, here's a shot of the recipe if you would like it. I just pulled it off Pinterest. I don't remember what site, but there are just so many out there. Just kind of look to see what you have all the ingredients for and then make one of them. Okay guys, the next one is called Crazy Salt, and this one has a little bit of spice to it. There's some cayenne pepper in this one. So here is the recipe, and I have them all lined up in order there with the lids off just to make it a little faster. And I will go ahead and start mixing this one. Okay, the first thing is 1/4 cup of salt. And this is the 3rd cup, so I'm not going to quite fill it all the way up. So 1/4 cup of salt, 4 tablespoons of garlic, oh, that's a little overflowed. I'll do the next one a little less. 3, 4. and 1 tablespoon of pepper, 2 teaspoons of onion, 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed, 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne, and 1/4 teaspoon of sage. Mix this one up. Make sure there's no lumps. That's what it looks like. Grab a jar. Slap a label on it, and that one is going to be the crazy salt. Okay guys, the last one is just a basic seasoning salt, and this is the recipe for that. And I think this would probably be really good for poultry dishes. So I'll go ahead and mix this one. It begins with 1/3 cup of salt. And 2 tablespoons of sugar. Two teaspoons of paprika. Oops. Let's put some of that in there. 2 teaspoons of paprika. 1 teaspoon of garlic. 1.5 teaspoon of onion, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. And it says a pinch of cayenne. I'm just going to put another 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. And mix this one up. And we have our final jar. And that's it for the seasoning salt. Okay, so these are the finished products of the salts. Like I said, all I did is make a label for them, and they have Tuscan salt, smoked salt. This is my favorite. I didn't actually do anything to it. It was just smoked salt, just with the purple band. I just think it's really pretty. The salt kind of has this grayish purpley hue, and I just think it looks pretty in that jar. This one is crazy salt and seasoned salt. And what I'm going to do is put a 3x5 card for each of them in there. Well, not the smoked salt, but the other 3. And I'm going to list off the ingredients that are in it just in case someone is allergic or if they want to make it again. I'm going to go ahead and list out the amounts, you know, how much for each one, and just include a 3x5 card with the recipe for each one. And again, this is another extremely frugal but thoughtful gift. It just takes a little bit of time. And the set of 4 cost me $4, so it was essentially $1 a jar. And all the seasonings I had in my cabinet. The only thing that I bought was the salt and the jars. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that it helps you out to make a couple of gifts for family and friends.